How does, like, Wemby or Shaq stay rich? Like, anyways, though, it's the last schedule or division to do this. So, yeah, let's just get this thing going. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the NFL. Please like and subscribe. Hope y'all are ready for our final division for the schedule rankings. That is the NFC West. And the NFC West last year sent 3 teams with 12-plus wins in the playoffs. 2 of them went to the NFC Championship. 1 of them won the whole damn thing. The Cardinals are the first team will go through this. That was not the case for them. But again, hope you guys have enjoyed this series. Again, it's been definitely a quick one. That's how all these schedule rankings usually go. So that's good. But again, we'll definitely discuss this a lot more as we get into the roster grades. But with that said, let's look at how rough this Cardinals schedule is. If not mistaken, on DraftKings. Why am I doing gambling freaking sponsorships? Anyways, they have the highest odds to have the #1 pick, so I guess that's good. But yeah, their schedule isn't very easy at all. I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely rough. Week 1 they had to not really that far. They're taking on the Chargers on the road. It's gonna be a game that no one's really gonna want to watch. Maybe it's close. I don't know, but I mean, again, it's not the worst road game, but they're not gonna win it. Seattle at home week 2. Yeah, you're not gonna want to watch that game. And then the Niners in week 3. Also, they don't have a single primetime game if you didn't know that already. But week 3 at the Niners, week 4 versus the Giants. I'm gonna be honest, just so they don't start 0-9, 10. I'm not gonna lie to you all. Until the bye week, I don't think there's a single game they'll be favored in. I'll say they start 1-3, but even then, I'm just kind of being nice. Maybe they win the Giants game. Week 5 versus Detroit. They have not beat Detroit at home in a very long time. I think they tied them, but I don't think they haven't beat them in a long time. I can tell you that right now. They beat Lions Cardinals 2018. That game sucked. 2017. 2016. 2015. I mean, they're winning these games, but okay, was it 2014? Yeah, they haven't beat them at home since 2014. That's just not going to happen. They're going to be 1-4. They're not beating the Rams. They're not beating the Broncos. That's 1-6. Screw it. They're going to beat the Cardinals. I don't know. Cowboys. They did last year, and I think they might be better, so 2-6. They're not winning in Seattle. They're not beating the Rams there. You know, maybe they beat the Rams once. No, they're not. So, they're going to be 2-8 through the first 10 games. I think, again, we're just going to say that. We'll say they're 3-10 through the first 13 games. None of those 3 games they probably will be favored in all. Maybe they beat Philly. I think the Commanders game's the one that I'll say they win. They're not beating the Chiefs on the road. They haven't played. When was the last time they played the Chiefs on the road, guys? Like, what are we doing? Chiefs Cardinals 2018. Did that happen? It did. Why do I just not remember this game? Probably because it was one of the most relevant things. Like, you look at Mahomes' 2018 generational MVP season, no one remembers this game. Just no one does. I mean, Josh Rosen won. Like, who remembers this game, guys? But anyways, yeah, they're going to have a 3-10 record at best through this stretch. Again, they might be even worse. They might be winless. Following the bye, they have actually a ridiculously interesting tank bowl stretch here. I'm honestly going to say they're going to win 2 of these, so they don't finish like, I don't know, 2-15, but we'll see. Niners in week 18, they'll lose 2, so because it'll probably be for playoffs, but maybe not. You know what? We'll say they finish 6-11 because this game won't mean anything. That's best case. Worst case, I'm gonna be more realistic. They'll probably win 4 games, guys, off the schedule. I will say the fact they have a really easy 3-game stretch here is nice, but they won't have a chance until they get there. And again, if they really tank hard enough, then these 3 games could be uncompetitive too. I really don't know, but yeah, this is the schedule of doom for the first. Again, they have week 14 bye. Like they're not getting through that. Alright guys, now on to the Niners schedule. I'm so happy we're doing this, guys. Again, I just love the Niners. They're my favorite team to talk about. They're very fun to talk about. They got the most interesting team in the league. They got some great people in there. I'm really looking at Brandon Ayuk. He's a great guy to have in your locker room. He's an invaluable part of the football team. That's why they should give him. Again, if I'm the Niners, again, you got to give him $800 million. Give him the keys to the city if you want to too. Speaking of that, I'm so happy to talk about this Niners game. Again, I know how happy they are about the fact that they have to go to Australia for week 1. Again, watch the game's on Netflix, so keep that in mind. They have to go to Australia for week 1, and then they have to, again, a mini bye week before the game against the Dolphins. They got to be so stoked for that. Again, enough with the Kyle Shanahan sarcasm. That game week 1 is definitely not going to be fun, but the next, 2 games are going to be wins, so, I mean, that's good. Both are at home, so we look at this overall. Again, the first game's going to be brutal. Honestly, though, I'm going to say they're going to win it. They're going to start 3-0. I don't know why, but I think they're going to actually win that game. Following that, though, Game against Denver's week 4 is definitely a big litmus test. They started 3-0 last year. I don't know why, but I think they're going to definitely drop that one. So we're going to say 3-1 there. At Seattle week 5, I actually have them winning. Last year that didn't happen, but this year it might. Wait, what was the score? Like 41-6? It was so bad. Maybe not. We'll say they lose that. Their next 2 games before the bye should be winnable. They have the Commanders at home on Monday Night Football, so we'll see. And then the Falcons week 7, that's a game they've dropped in the past. But I'm going to say they're going to be a very strong 5-2. Worst case, they're going to be 4-3 and go into their bye week, though. But I'm going to say 5-2 to be, again, because they've had strong starts for most of the past couple of years. So week 8 through, I'm going to say 5-2. Following their bye week, they have some very intriguing games. First of which is going to be versus the Raiders. That's not an intriguing game. They're going to win that one. Then they Cowboys on the road on America's Game of the Week. They might drop that one, but then the Vikings game I think will replenish that one. That's going to be at Estadio Azteca. I can't tell you the last. Has Sunday Night Football NBC ever had an international game? Has NBC? That's actually a dumb question. They did it a couple years ago. I'm just going to shut up. Anyways, though, because they had the Sao Paulo game, Eagles Packers. Saquon, that season. But anyways, following that, they had the Seattle. They're going to lose that one. Maybe they don't get swept. We'll say they win that one. But we're going to say 8. You know what? I'll let the Giants game in last year because how uncompetitive it was last year. Now let's see how changed it. So we're gonna say they're gonna be 8-4 through their bye through week 13. Then they have the Rams at home. They're gonna drop that one because they're gonna lose at least one of the Rams. Versus Chargers on a short week, I actually think they'll win that one. That's a very easy travel day for them. At Kansas City off the mini bye, honestly should be a pretty fun one to watch. Then they have Philly at home on Sunday Night Football, which again with the travel isn't getting that's not even that much travel. So overall though, after that, honestly I think 8-4 start here. They're gonna lose that one, so 8-5, 9-5, 10-5 maybe. I think they'll be 11-5 or maybe 10-6 through there, and I think again if the Week 18 game matters, that'll definitely challenge something. But I don't know if they're going to be playing to win this division because I actually think the division winner in the NFC West, like last year, is going to have to win 13 games. 12 probably a little bit more of a realistic mark. But again, just the fact that I think, again, we'll say 12 games is the mark they need to get to. I don't see that happening with them. I think best case they go, or not best case, but reasonably they go 11-6 and probably 10-7. Again, if this game doesn't matter, which is a possibility. Again, if they don't get to that, if they don't have a chance to get that 12-win mark by after that. Again, after they conclude week 17. There we go. Well, there's a Monday night. You get the point, though. The schedule will be out, or at least the flexible, the official times and dates for the Week 18 games will be announced by then. But anyways, yes, for that and we're gonna move this overall. I think the Niners are in a tough spot here, but still, again, very easily will be contending for a decent playoff season. We already talked about the Melbourne game, which the Rams are technically a designated home team for. So again, they really have only 7 home games here because they have the Chargers game. But if you really look at it that way, the fact the Chargers aren't a real team, they don't have real fans, I guess you could still call that a home game. Again, you look back to 2022, and I know the Rams did kind of waste that opportunity, but they had again, since it was an even year, which again I think is really good for the Rams here because again in 2030 they'll have the Chargers technically at home, or no, maybe not. No, they will. But because again they'll be at the Chargers technically. Those years they have 10, and I guess this year these years they only have, I guess technically 8. That's the right way to put it. And I guess 7 with this international game. So just keep that in mind here. The Rams technically only have 7 home games, but that game will be a part of the fact the Rams have 7 primetime games. I thought 3 of them were Netflix. It's only 2 of them, but you get the point. They have 3 special games. They have a normal Thursday nighter. They have a Monday nighter and a Sunday nighter. So the fact they have 3 special games, the fact that most years there aren't that many special games is kind of crazy. About 2 Monday nighters, but the Rams schedule is absolutely packed this year, which again is the fact that, and I think they're Super Bowl favorites, and if they're not, it's probably Seattle, which we'll get to in a minute. So there you go. NFC West is loaded. But this Niners game will definitely be very interesting. I don't really care if they win it as long as no one gets injured and it isn't a discouraging game. I'm okay with what happens. So I'm just going to be happy if football's back, to be honest with y'all. And hopefully Seattle lost to New England the day before, which isn't going to happen. Week 2, they have the Giants on Monday Night Football. That's a game they better win by multiple scores. I'm not going to tell you what the actual score will end up being. We're going to predict that when, the context is given for that game. But all you need to know about it is that the Rams should be favored in it, and they should win it. Denver Week 3 on Sunday Night Football is going to be a good game. As long as Bo Nix isn't freaking pissing away Jared Verse, they should win that game. It's going to be a really close one, though. At Philly Week 4, I don't know what it is. The Rams just can't win in Philly. They haven't won since COVID, and that's when they didn't have a crowd. So, again, I'm just not really encouraging them winning that game. So, I'm going to be honest, guys. I think the first 4 games, they could be 2-2. Maybe even 2-3, because the Bills game will not be easy either. That game 2 years ago, I think will be definitely replicable in this one. I mean, maybe not. Again, 44-42 doesn't happen every other day. Probably only happens like once or twice a year at most. So that game is going to be an absolute shootout, and they could very well easily lose that game. So realistically, guys, these first 5 games, guys, The Rams might be Super Bowl favorites, but they might be 2-3 after this stretch, and I wouldn't even be that surprised. Still, I'm gonna say they find a way to get out of it 3-2. After this, I'd be pissed if they don't at least win these next 5 games, and they should win all these games. Cardinals week 6, that's got to be one of the easiest games in their schedule. I'm not gonna lie, if they lose that, I'm gonna be again absolutely pissed. Raiders week 7, another game that should be an absolute curb stomp. You beat them when you guys were like poverty in 2024. Again, that was right before the week 8 bye. They got to win that game. Chargers week 8, another game they should win. The Chargers don't really have much of an offense, guys. Commanders week 9, a weird sort of game, another game they should win though. And then week 10 against the Cardinals, another game they should win. They might drop one of those though somehow. So again, I'm going to say they win all 5 of these games. So I mean, that's just what's going to need to happen. So I'm going to say they're 8-2 going to bye, 7-3. Again, if that stretch doesn't go, or if they drop one of these 2 games. So, but I'm gonna say 8-2 is where they should be, but you never really know. Following the bye doesn't really get it's not really easy at all. I'm not gonna lie. These last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last 7 games, none of these are easy. Packers on Thanksgiving Eve will be a really fun one. They could drop it. I'm gonna say they win it though. Week 13 versus Chiefs is gonna be an absolute freaking bomb show, guys. That game's gonna have again. Well, let's put it this way. If you remember the Week 18 or Week 10 what week was it? Week 11 Monday Nighter from 2018, which was supposed to be in Mexico City. It didn't happen. Then it was the greatest regular season game ever. I don't care about the freaking 1950 game or World War II game, Ravens Giants, whatever the hell you want to call that one. I just don't care. This game was better. So yeah. Maybe they're 10-2 though. We'll probably say 9-3 though. They had a San Fran. If I say they lose week 1, they're gonna win this game. Again, maybe they get swept. But yeah. I'm gonna say through week 14 they're gonna be 10-3. Then they have Dallas at home. I couldn't tell. They beat Dallas once since that game. They haven't won a significant game against Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. You can talk about the week 1 game. I already talked about this in schedule reaction. They haven't beat the significant game against Dallas since the divisional game in 2018 or 2019 technically. I don't think that's going to change there. But I really don't think it matters because I think this game, even if they're what would I say, 10-4, but if they're 11-3 going to that game against Seattle, that game will probably be for the 1 seed like it was last year. They went 0-2 against Seattle last year on the road or at Lumen Field. I don't love the vibes here, but I think again, I just really want to repeat that 2017 game where they beat them 42-7. That would be sick. They have 2 flex games end of the season. It's really anticlimactic to put the Seattle game in week 18, but again, who really knows with that? Then at the Bucks week 17, that game will be probably on the Saturday. Who really knows though? So just keep that in mind. But I'm looking at these last again 7 games. They're gonna suck. Again, if they go 3-4 in this stretch, they might blow their chances at a 1 seed. But I still think I think they'll finish 12-5. At least with what I'm seeing now, which isn't great considering where they want to be. But still, 12-5 is a very, very good record and will absolutely put you in the playoff. Alright guys, let's look at the Seattle Seahawks, the defending Super Bowl champs, fittingly going last here for the schedules. And let's look at how hard it will be for them to repeat as Super Bowl champs. They open up the season on opening night, the first Wednesday night only the 4th ever Wednesday. No, is that true? Only the 5th ever Wednesday NFL game since 1970 or whatever. You obviously had the COVID one. Between Ravens and Steelers, the Barack Obama inauguration kickoff game, which 2012 or whenever that was, and then you obviously had some other one that I'm not remembering. But we got 2 of these this year. We already talked about the first one. That was the Packers-Rams game, Thanksgiving Eve. And now we have this one. So, because again, the Melbourne game with the Rams. But Patriots, that's a game they should win. They blew them out in the Super Bowl last year. They're a better team than now, and the Patriots might be worse, so unless they get A.J. Brown, that would be pretty sick. That game will be a fun one to watch, though. Then the Cardinals and Commanders, both those games should be won on the road. The Commanders game could be interesting, but still, I don't think Jaden Daniels is dicing up that defense, so just keep that in mind. But after that, they have a really tough 5-game stretch, I'd probably say here. I'd probably say they'll be 3-2 in this stretch, but they get the Chargers at home in week 4. That's when I like them a lot because Justin Herbert just does not seem like one, especially with that offensive line looking like, at least as of right now. That just doesn't seem like a game they'll be really fit to play in. And then obviously the Niners game in week 5, I think that's America's game of the weekend. If it's not, I'm like, what the hell's going on? But that game will definitely be a fun one. Broncos in week 6, that'll be a short week for the Seattle there, but again, not really much of a travel, so it's not too big stress there. That game will be close, and they have the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Back-to-back NFC West games we'll be telling there, but I think they're off the mini bye. In fact, they're home. Will probably give us a good idea of what's going to happen there. And also the Bears. at home, which will probably be another game that you should like there. But again, through the first 8 games, they'll probably be 5-3, 6-2. I'd probably say. I'm leaning more to 6-2 though. So because like I said, 3-0 is very realistic. Maybe I'd probably say 4-0, which I can't tell you the last time they would have been 4-0 since they started 5-0 back during COVID. So keep that in mind. I think the first loss might be the San Fran game, and then maybe they drop the Denver game or the Chicago game. But yeah, 6-2 I think is very realistic. And then you see 8-2 because they're playing 2 shitters after that. So yeah, 8-2 is a very nice start. I'm not gonna lie. These first 8 games or first 10 weeks are a very, I wouldn't say smooth sailing, but they're in a really good spot. Again, they should at least be 7-3 going to their bye week. Following the bye, it is not easy. Niners to week 12. They're at the Niners that week. Again, last year they won, but again, honestly, you're gonna say they win. They've just been so dominant against them. Cowboys in week 13 at home. I don't know, weirdly, I think they're going to drop that game. Week 14 versus Giants should be a win. Then they have the Eagles on a short week. That Saturday, Super Saturday, Fox. They love doing that thing. They have 2 games versus the Rams and then the Niners, the Carolina on the road. I'm not going to lie to you guys. There's really no reason they can't win 13 or 14 games with the schedule. The second half isn't great, I'd probably say, after the Week 11 bye. But even then, guys, there's still some games in the schedule. I'm like, they got to win that one. Like the Panthers game, the Giants game. I don't know why the Dallas game is just kind of going weird for me, but Philly isn't the worst game either. Obviously not going to be easy. I think at least they're drop one of the Rams, but still, the fact they have their number in that short week game is going to be very telling. They're going to back to a very funky schedule in there, but yeah, this is just a weird end of the season for them. But still, again, like I said, 13 wins, very realistic. All right, guys, without a doubt, the hardest schedule in the NFC West has to be the Cardinals. I don't really even need to make any sort of like declarations or any make any statements beyond the one that, again, you already know. They don't have a chance to do anything, again, when you have those, again, that, stretch of games, the fact they played 13 straight games this season, they have an extremely, Week 14 bye, and the fact that I don't really see them having a record better than 3-10 kind of tells you all you need to know. They're cooked. Niners, I think, have the second hardest schedule in this division. Not exactly because I think there's any sort of stretch where I'm like, crap, that's gonna be a tough stretch. It's more the fact that I don't really think they're gonna be able to build as much wins as I think they want to. I talk about the start of the season. I think they could definitely start out 3-4-0 for sure. But there's definitely some rugged areas in there where I'm like, yeah, that could definitely slow them up a little bit, and that'll be hard for them to get to 12 wins, which I think in this division is where they're gonna need to be, at least going into Week 18 to really have a chance to win this division. Rams, I think, have the second hardest schedule in this division, or second easiest schedule in this division, but it's still not really that easy. I think the 5-game stretch where I really think they could just absolutely wheel and win those games going to the bye would be a very big momentum setter for them. But still, 7 primetime games, 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken, on short weeks of sorts, outside of, again, the Week 1 game, is going to be a very interesting dynamic for this Rams team this year. But still, they're in a really good spot. I think that even though the schedule is not easy by any means, it's still something that I think they could definitely take advantage of. And the easiest schedule in the 2026 NFC West is the Seahawks. Again, like I said, it's just, I don't see them getting completely derailed this year. They're not heading to Buffalo, not games like that. Still, is it going to be rough? Absolutely. But again, where their tough games are, I think are in good spots. The second half of the schedule, I think, though, is still a little bit bizarre and could definitely, shift. It's going to be kind of a wild card in their schedule, which will be where they could end up if that ends up turning the wrong way. That's what I'll say there. And yeah, that's all I have for y'all. Again, I hope y'all enjoyed this 8 episode mini series of every NFL division schedule rankings. Again, this will definitely play into each team's resume, which will again play into their predictions at the end of the summer. But until I see y'all for our next team, it's roster grade time.
Just fine tonight.